Operatives, welcome back to the command feed. Today we're breaking down Air-to-Air Missile Mastery. Command has authorized a full briefing on everything you need to dominate missile combat in War Thunder. If you're just entering the missile era, I highly recommend firing up a custom match, like you'll see in the demonstrations, and try following along. First on the list we have the F-8E Crusader, then the F-4J Phantom, then the legendary F-14A Tomcat, and lastly, the F-A-18C Hornet late version. Each aircraft will highlight different tiers, different missile tech, and different ways to secure the kill. Make sure to set up your keybinds before getting started. The default ones are confusing and not very easy to use in game. Alright operatives, first up we got the F-8E Crusader. Rule number 1, if you're close enough, don't waste the missile. Take the gun kill. The Crusader's nose cannons will delete anything that gets too brave. Our first missile shot is the AIM-9 Charlie, the Sidewinder that secretly wanted to be a Sparrow and never figured out its identity. Now the radar, it's primitive, to put it nicely. No pulse Doppler, no ground clutter rejection, just purely Vietnam suffering. If your target is anywhere near the ground, the radar will give up instantly and lose luck. It stutters, and half the time, it can't see what's right in front of it. So think of the Crusader's radar as a directional flashlight, not a tracking system. So use it high, use it clean, keep targets above the horizon if you can. The moment that radar sees the dirt, it's most likely done. Now the IR missiles the Crusader gets are decent, but in up tiers you will struggle. Your best chance of success is to try to surprise your target, do not announce your presence too early, and only try to shoot when they are not actively deploying flares or maneuvering. Your best chance is when no flares are being deployed and they just get out of a maneuver where they need to recover energy. Using the keybinds that you set up, make sure that your radar is active. It should be active by default, but once it's active, go ahead and target your enemy aircraft and press your lock button for radar. And once you see the box around your target, you know that you have radar lock, and then you can activate your missile by pressing the firing missile button. If you don't have a radar lock, you won't be able to get a missile lock, and you need a missile lock for a radar missile to fire. You're wondering why the yellow marker for the squad ping is appearing whenever I try to radar lock an enemy? It's because I have my radar lock dual binded to the squad ping. This is very useful, and I use it for ground battles as well. I didn't show that in the settings, but I highly recommend it because it does help. When it comes to aspect and launch angle, it matters, especially with the AIM-9 Charlie. If you end up missing like I did, follow up with guns or disengage before you get unalived. F-8E's radar is super useful for guiding your guns to target when you're out of missiles. At long range, you're not likely to get a lock with your AIM-9 Charlie, but as long as you have a radar lock, you will eventually get your missile lock. But just make sure that you maintain aspect so that the missile can actually hit. To fire your IR missiles, you don't need to do anything special or fancy. All you gotta do is press that button that you assign to fire your air-to-air missile. That's it. But remember, take the gun kill if you can save the missile. You get a limited amount in realistic battles, and you'll have to go to the airfield to refill them. If you play arcade, you're fine. I think they have a setting that go ahead and rearms you when you're empty. But for realistic players, save those missiles. And if you are out of flares or you're flying an aircraft that doesn't have any flares, use the sun. It's the largest flare you can get. Flying directly into the sun can mess up tracking of an enemy IR missile. If you are targeting an enemy that flies into the sun, don't bother. You'll just waste the missile. However, once you get used to this jet and if it clicks for you, you won't want to stop flying it. Next up, we have the Vietnam-era F-4J Phantom, a genuine workhorse for the US Navy. Quick history moment. There was once a squadron of F-4s that wiped out an entire group of MiG-21s that were harassing US F-105 bombers. Back then, US policy required visual identification before firing, so no BVR. This basically threw away the Phantom's biggest advantage over the MiG-21, which led to thousands of wasted bombs, and pilots having to run for their lives. Now in game, we're starting with the AIM-7 Foxtrot. It's a solid semi-active radar homing missile. Do not fire if the enemy can dip behind terrain or buildings for cover. They'll either dodge it or it'll lose track, just like you saw. The F-4J Phantom gets two unique modes that the F-8E Crusader does not get. It's Air Combat Maneuvering Mode and Helmet Mounted Display Mode. To activate these, you need to use the key that you assign to your switch between within visual range and beyond visual range combat. IR missiles on the F-4 Phantom handle a bit similar to the Crusader, but with a little bit more range, a little bit more maneuverability, and the aircraft overall has better radar support. Operatives. We're on to the legendary F-14 Tomcat. this aircraft was built to protect carrier strike groups, and the AIM-54 Phoenix was designed to obliterate enemy bombers before they ever got close. Now, I made the mistake of firing an AIM-7 dogfight missile at nearly 20 kilometers, and then another at a bad angle also far away. I should have gone with the Phoenix. I thought I had it selected, but I didn't. So I left this in on purpose so that you don't make the same mistake. For your IR missiles, turn your radar off or avoid locking the target, because their RWR will notify them and they'll start to flare and try to evade you or pull into the sun. Bots won't do this, so I am not worried here, but real players absolutely will, and they'll punish you for it. If you want the stealth kill, radar off, unseen, unheard. A unique benefit that the F-14 Tomcat has is that it has a TWS radar mode, track while scanning. In this mode, you can lock onto with missiles on enemy targets without them knowing that they're being locked, unless you hard lock them while in TWS mode. Once that square around them goes solid, they definitely know and they are aware. But if you fire it while the square is dotted, they won't know that that missile is headed their way until that missile becomes pitbull, where it's tracking on its own and no longer receiving guidance from the aircraft. Because I fired at such a close range, I had to switch to aircraft maneuvering mode to get this Phoenix off, which, by the way, was not an optimal range, so don't do this in a match unless you're desperate. And lastly, everyone, we have the F-18 Charlie Hornet, the AMRAAM-Slinger. I don't have any upgrades on this jet yet, but it can carry up to 10 AMRAAMs. Pure brutality. Every AIM-120 that I shot on this demo was within pitbull range. Once that missile takes over on its own, using its own radar, I confidently shut my radar off and let it finish the job.
Lock.
The missile knows where it is at all times. It knows this because it knows where it isn't. By subtracting where it is from where it isn't, or where it isn't from where it is, whichever is greater.
Lock. Over G.
The Hornet's maneuverability is insane. Yes, it's slow, but it turns like it wants blood.
Critical speed. Bingo. Critical speed. Altitude. Check fuel. Check fuel.
And for the AIM-9Ls and the AIM-9Ms, absolutely unfair. All aspect tracking, incredible seeker behavior, and if a player isn't paying attention, they're already headed back to the hangar, they just don't know it yet.
Check fuel. Check fuel. Bingo. Check fuel. Check fuel.
If you learned something from this video, please drop it in the comment and let us know. It helps Command improve future videos. And for my War Thunder veterans out there, if you got anything that I missed that you want to elaborate on, drop it in the comments so the rest of the Command feed can hear it.
Roll right. Check fuel.
Alright, that's a wrap up for all the demos. Stand by for the summary. Thank you for watching, Operatives. Your continued support keeps future missions alive.